Hi everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather. I wanted to show you some brand new irregulars that we're going to be putting up on sale today, as well as a bunch of other wallets that we are shipping out today. This is actually the last video that I'll be doing for 2020, and thank God that the year is about done here. I wanted to point out some interesting statistics that YouTube sent me. So in the year 2020, we had over 3,500 comments and people are sharing the videos, which is really nice of you. And we also had over 1,700 subscribers with 260,000 views, which is totally crazy. And then the stat that blows my mind is that we had over 1 million minutes of watch time on these videos. It's pretty crazy. I've done about 60 hours of videos for YouTube this year. Most of them are things that we ship out each day, but I feel like it's really fun to be able to see all the different leathers and the different wallets. And I like to do more of those explanation videos to sort of demystify what leather is all about. And I plan to continue to do that in 2021. So we got a lot of great stuff coming for the next year. But let's get into these irregular wallets. You'll be able to find these on the flash sale page of the website right now. I have about 13 items here, I believe. Let's start off here with this natural shell cordovan giant the fox. And this one has a really neat reverse interior. What is irregular on this guy is on the top section of the exterior part of the wallet. And it's kind of hard to see. I'm noticing it's hard to see on the screen right now, but there are very small little dark spots in here. I believe this is melted wax that sort of started to make a little bit of dark spots in the top section here. So we have to irregular it for that one, put a nice little discount on this one. I should also mention we're still doing our holiday 2020 sale. So you can combo a 10% off discount for any of these irregulars. Get yourself a nice deal to end perhaps a terrible year, or perhaps a great year. But this is a 100% color 8 shell cordovan giant of the fox that's also going up on the irregular sale today. You can find it on the flash sale page. This one has color 8 shell on the interior. There are some small inconsistencies, some small cosmetic issues on this wallet that are actually hard to see, but there's very small little scuffs and scratches, small little spots on this wallet that make that one an irregular. Here's a Capone money clip, and I think this is the first time I've done an irregular of one of these. This is in black shell cordovan, which is really neat. And on the inside, more black shell cordovan. This will be a good chance to get your hands on a shell piece because this little spot right here, and I'm not sure if this is going to show up. There's a tiny little spot above our logo. It's actually a machine tool mark that got put into the leather there, and I just can't sell that one for full price. So you can find the black shell Capone up on that flash sale page. And here's a natural Chrome Excel Tony the Ant. It's a really nice piece, but the top right corner here, I wasn't really happy with how that was beveled. And on the inside, we've got some little bits of color difference on this card slot. It's not going to affect the longevity of the wallet, but it's just a little bit different from our normal quality standards. Can't sell that one for full price. Here's another Tony, and this one's in a really cool piece of marbled black shell cordovan. We get those highs and lows of colors that range from a dark black, sort of forest green, to sometimes a little bit of orangey tan shades in the center. I think that's really neat, and I think you can see the color a little bit better on the interior here. We have these more orangey tones on the card slots on the left and on the right. Let's see if I can find why this one is irregular. All of them are pretty minor, but there's just little bits of scuffs and scratches on some of them that are kind of hard to see. In fact, I'm having a hard time finding it on this one, but there's like a tiny little scratch right here. And here's another pretty awesome piece. I really like this one shot. This is a natural shell cordovan one shot card case, and it has a contrasting blue stitch on it. This is actually, we used a little bit of a thicker stitching on this one, a little bit of a thicker thread, which I think makes the contrast stand out a little bit more. And I really like this look of blue and natural together. This one we had to do irregular because the stitching on the left, if you look closely, it's slightly crooked. We can't sell that one for full price. And if you look at the backside here, I really like this one shot. Here's another minimalist piece. This is our Frank the Enforcer in amaretto shell cordovan. This one has sort of like a big scratch on the top right card holder there that is not great at all. It won't fall apart, it won't rip, but it's a little bit unsightly. It's not up to our standards. I think if you look at the backside, amaretto shell Frank here is really my favorite shell color. It's a really nice piece. Here's another cool one. I think this was a leftover from our holiday Halloween sale. This is black Dublin with a neon green stitching, and I really like that together. We don't really use a lot of neon green. So it's kind of fun to put this new thread on a classic color like this black Dublin. Here's another Frank the Enforcer. Speaking of classic colors, this is the Color 8 Chrome Excel leather, which is similar to the Color 8 shell. I find it to be a little bit more cherry, a little bit more red when you compare it directly to the shell cordovan. This one's got a little bit of funky beveling on the side here. It's pretty hard to see the inconsistencies on this guy, but either way, we can see it. So if you don't notice it, that's just better for you. You get just a sweet deal on a nice little wallet here. And I have a couple Fat Herbies, and this one is super nice. This is a color number 4 shell cordovan. And I mentioned that the amaretto shell is my favorite shell color, but this color here, the color 4, was my favorite shell color for about a decade. And I really like this sort of like caramel medium brown with reddish undertones to it. And it has a nice color shift as well, depending on what angle you look at this leather. It sort of changes from a brown to a reddish brown to sometimes a little bit more of like a golden caramel color. I really, really like it. Give you a look at the inside here. More color 4 shell cordovan. This one has a sort of discoloration on the outside right here that's a little challenging to see. Something like that is going to blend in just with normal use. But let me give you a look at the other Fat Herbie here. This one is a marbled color 8 shell cordovan. And this one has those reddish sort of burgundy tones that fade into more of a yellowy orange shade, and all the colors in between. It's all randomized on the marbled shells. And on the color 8 marbled, we get more of a range. You can probably see better here. A little bit more orange, sometimes those more light red tones, and then sometimes a little bit darker of a brown. I'll give you a look at the inside because this is a better example of that contrast I'm talking about. It goes a little bit orangey brown to sometimes red on the marble shells. But again, they're all random because all the shell cordovan from Horween is hand finished. And I have 2 more irregulars to show you. This is the little brother to the Fat Herbie. It's a wallet we call the Tony the Ant with that same exterior bill slot. That's sort of unique. We don't see a lot of wallets in the world with exterior bill slots until the Fat Herbie came around. And people really liked sort of this aesthetic with the thumb notch in the back. So we made it in a smaller form factor. And that's what the Tony the Ant here is. This one is in whiskey shell cordovan. I was actually struggling to remember why we downgraded this, but there are very small, tiny little scuffs and scratches on this piece that are probably not going to translate on the video. Let me give you a look at the inside. We can see there's tiny little scratches here that again might not be visible on a video like this, but they are there, and I just don't have it in me to sell for full price. Let's give a look at the last guy here. This is a Bugs Moran natural shell cordovan on the outside. That's about the lightest a piece of shell cordovan will get. So if you're into patina, I suggest a natural shell or the raw natural shell. And this one's really cool. I also suggest this. I really like a reverse interior, and that's what we have here. This is a reverse natural interior. So what we do is we take the shell cordovan, and this is the shell side here, and we flip it upside down. So you see the reverse side of the shell. That's what this is here. It doesn't have that same dense fiber membrane of the cordovan itself, but it does have a really nice veg character, and it's a little bit more grainy. You can see a little bit more of those hair holes inside the reverse shell cordovan. And I like how it wears in, because when this is folded, put into your pocket, and it sort of rubs in your pocket like this, the leather will actually scuff itself when it's rubbing together. I find the reverse cordovan to be a little bit more easily filled in compared to a shell-on-shell interior. So we had some pretty interesting irregulars that we're putting up on the site today. If you have any questions about those, definitely let me know. We tend to sell the irregular wallets. They tend to go pretty quickly. So if you're interested in one, I would suggest picking one up and reserving it for yourself, and I can send you photos of more details. I just want to make sure that we hold that wallet for you, because if you're waiting to get some more information on a wallet, it might sell by the time I get back to you. But let's take a look at some other wallets that are shipping out today. This is Amaretto Shell Cordovan on a Tony the Ant, and this one has been personalized for JCL, and I love this Tony the Ant. Congratulations, JCL. You got a beautiful piece coming your way. Let's take a look at another Tony here. This is the color similar to the Amaretto shell, but on a non-shell leather. I find this English tan Dublin to be very similar in color to the Amaretto, which is why I like it so much. And I love the natural grain character of the Dublin, in particular on the English tan. I just think that's a beautiful shade. Here's another Tony the Ant, also an Amaretto Shell Cordovan, but this will give you a chance to see it without that personalization that we had on the other wallet. We tend to put them on the outside right bottom corners, any of those monograms. There's a nice Horween ink stamp on the center of this guy. Here's another Tony. This one is black shell cordovan on the outside with a reverse interior. And there's two things I love about this. I love how the light hits off of the black shell. Like when I do something like this, the way that light reflects, I think is really, really neat. I think that's cool. And on the inside, this one has a double Horween ink stamp, which we don't often see. The Horween ink stamps are tough to get. There's actually one ink stamp applied to each piece of shell cordovan. So we try to cut them on this wallet. We try to cut it into the center here, which we find is the most visible spot. It looks like there was another stamp on the left side there. Here's another wallet. This is another Tony the Ant in the classic color 8 shell. This sort of has that same light reflection look. Some of those darker colors tend to bounce the light in a really interesting way. But on this color 8 shell, this is the classic shell cordovan color. Earlier this week on Monday, I did a video about how this is now the sort of default color for shell cordovan. A lot of people, when they hear the word cordovan, they think of this color. It's a dark brown burgundy shade. So one of the two classic shell cordovan colors. We have several Horween leather belts going out today. I wanted to show you this one here in natural chrome excel. And what's really neat about these belts is that they're unlined, so they're super comfortable. That means we just have one super thick piece of chrome excel in this case, and it is 9 ounce. We also make this in English tan Dublin leather, but we've got a nice little sizing stamp on the back there. These are sewn together, so you won't get them to rip. And we have a solid brass with an antique brass finish buckle, and I think the coolest part here is these little holes. They're sort of teardrop shape. And I like it, just makes it a little bit different, but this is also how the holes are going to sort of wear in once you start wearing these belts. I've been wearing one of these belts for several years now, and I find it to be the most comfortable belt. And it's something that I hadn't thought of too much before. I sort of only wear my products, but a lot of my friends that have been trying that Horween leather belt out have been mentioning the same thing to me, just not digging into their body. Let me show you a look here at this Bugs Moran. This is a color 8 shell cordovan Bugs Moran. It's just similar to the Tony the Ant, but without the bill slot on the outside. On the inside here, this is an interesting look. We usually try to cut the ink stamp into the center. It looks like we have a little bit of the Horween measuring machine stamp on the inside of this guy. And I have 3 fat Herbies to show you. This one here, color 8 reverse interior with all sorts of really interesting random die marks and a Horween ink stamp on the interior. I think that's really great. On the outside, that classic color 8 shell cordovan. This one's been personalized for GHDZ. This is a beautiful piece going out your way. Another version of a color 8 Herbie here. So this is what we call an all reverse Herbie. So we have reverse shell cordovan on the inside. The center here is actually color 8 shell. So that's not reverse, but the outside is all reverse, which gives us this chance to show off a huge piece of reverse cordovan, so you get to see all these random die marks and a huge Horween ink stamp. Here's another Herbie, and this is sort of one of our older classics, the whiskey shell cordovan on the fat Herbie. This was the second wallet that sort of started our company off, and in 2021 that will be 10 years ago, which is totally crazy. The whiskey shell cordovan is a little bit more yellow and a little bit more golden. When you compare it to the natural shell, it's just a really beautiful shade. It's highly sought after. It's tough for us to get. And let's have a look at a couple of the Johnny of the Foxes that are going out today. This one here for W. Cheng is a 100% color 8 shell cordovan Johnny of the Fox. And the foxes that we've been making recently are super, super nice. We've been starting to apply an edge stain to this, and these are all hand stained with the same dye mixture that is used on the shell itself, so you get a perfectly matching color. And then we wax and burnish it so it's super smooth. We actually stain all the edges of the card slots as well, which I think looks super nice. So this is a beautiful Johnny the Fox going out today. Here's another great piece. I love this combo too. We've been selling a lot of these recently. This is natural shell cordovan on the outside. This natural shell has incredible natural character to it. You see all these little striations, all the little bit of lines and just natural character in that leather, I find to be very, very interesting. It's something sort of unique about Horween shell cordovan is it's very natural in appearance. And I also like the reverse interior on this guy. This is actually color 8 reverse interior. And I was talking about how I like reverse cordovan for interiors of wallets because when they wear in like this, I just find them to be a little bit more easily filled in. And that's holds true for the Johnny the Fox as well. And here's another English tan Dublin Johnny the Fox. I wore one of these for 100 days. I loved using this. Recently, I've been wearing an English tan Dublin Capone money clip that I've also been really enjoying, and I'm still wearing this English tan Dublin Apple Watch band here. This is made out of the belt weight Dublin leather. And we have 4 more wallets. The last 4 wallets of the year. This is a marbled black shell cordovan Frank the Enforcer. We have a couple of these left. They're currently on sale on the site. I love the color range in the marbled black, from the sort of orange to the green. It's really neat. Here's another Frank in my favorite shell color, the Amaretto. It's a beautiful orangey tan shade. Sometimes a little bit more red tones come out. And the Amaretto has this incredible color shift that I was mentioning before. When you sort of spin it around, you notice the colors go from orange to a brown. I find that really neat. Here's another English Tan Dublin. It's sort of good counterpart to the Amaretto. I find these two colors to be the most similar that we have in the shell and non-shell. And on the English Tan Dublin here, you get a significant amount more grain character. All these little bits of ranges of texture. We don't see that on the shell because the shells are perfectly smooth. And this particular piece of English Tan Dublin looks to be a little bit more brown than most pieces that I see. And the last wallet for 2020, this is a Capone money clip in a all reverse green shell cordovan. I don't think we've seen this one before. It's really neat. So we cut the green shell cordovan, flip it backwards, and put it on the outside and on the inside of this wallet. But because we flip this piece on the inside around, you're seeing the green shell on the outside. And I really like this contrast of the reverse and the green together. We've got a great Horween ink stamp on the left. Of course, we have this super strong clip. If your clip is not holding one bill snugly, I keep saying this in the videos, but there might be something wrong with your clip, and I want to make it right for you. I've been using the same exact clip on mine for about 4 months now, and I've never had a problem holding even just one bill super snug in there. So this Capone is a new wallet style for us this year. It seems like people are really enjoying this one. I thought it would be a great way to end the video today. So check out the Irregulars. I hope you guys have a happy new year, and we'll be back again next year with a ton of great stuff. I've got a lot of good ideas, and hopefully we'll get rid of this pandemic as well. So until next year, hope you have a good one and take care.